Scholars Unbound is a bi-monthly podcast or video series that showcases the voices of scholars who know no boundaries when it comes to the pursuit of knowledge. You will hear insights from their experiences as international scholars and how these influence their research, hoping to inspire future scholars to be fearless, global, and unbound. I'm your host, Dalia Simangan. Hi everyone, it's been a while. I put my podcasting on pause for more than 2 months without some kind of announcement, and I really apologize for that. Last April, I did my first travel internationally to meet my family since the start of the pandemic. Plus, I also got sick for a while. So, for the sake of my health and well being, I had to put aside my tasks that didn't have deadlines while I took care of myself and spent time with my family while working remotely. I have fully recovered now, and there's really nothing much to worry about. At first, I was quite disappointed in myself that I found myself again needing more hours in a day, something I thought I was able to master already. But, well, here I am admitting to you that I also fall off track of what I often advise to you in this podcast and what I thought I'm actually good at. But the past few months also reminded me of what truly matters to me: my health and my source of joy, the health of my family, and the time I spend with them. I also had some much needed rest from my work environment, giving me that renewed energy to go back to my office. And I also value the community that I built through this podcast. And so I thought that I should plan ahead if something like this happens again. Or at least you will be able to hear what's up with the podcast next time. So, what's up? After 2 months of silence here and 2 months of a hectic personal and work schedule, I think this episode is the perfect time to do a mid year check in. Some of you may be doing a daily, weekly, monthly, or yearly check in, or maybe some of you are not doing it at all. A regular check in reminds you to review not just your schedule, but more importantly, your goals. And this review is more like an assessment of whether whatever it is you're doing is aligned with what you need or want to do. If you have an academic mission statement, this is an important activity to reflect on whether your activities are still being informed by your academic mission, or if you need to update your mission to reflect the change in your goals. Your goals and activities are different from each other, and they are different from your mission too. So, this is the time to really realign all these things. And next episode, I will be sharing a talk I did for the Women's Network of my previous university, where I completed my master's degree. And in there, I talk a little bit about the academic mission statement. So tune in to that episode if you don't have a statement yet and why it's important to have one. Another reason why it's good to have a regular check in with your schedule is that it gives you a sense of control. Oftentimes, we do things as they come our way. We accept invitations here and there, we agree on new projects, and we create new ones. We get new ideas about new papers we want to write or events we want to attend. But a check in allows you to review all these things and get rid of those that are not aligned with your mission statement or those that just do not meet your personal or work goals anymore. This practice also makes you ask yourself, why am I doing the things that I am doing? And if the answers to that question do not make you a better person or better scholar, or do not give you personal joy and satisfaction, be reminded that you can prioritize, you can control the flow of what comes in, because you can only give as much. And a day can only give you a certain number of hours for uninterrupted and meaningful work. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, that there's too much on your plate, wishing you have more hours in a day, take a pause, take a step back, and see from afar how are you filling your days and weeks and months? How are you filling in your career and your personal life? Because a check in with your schedule and goals is not just about reviewing your career path, it's also about checking in with yourself. It really depends on what works for you, but if you are not yet doing a regular check in, I encourage you to dedicate a brief time for review and assessment of your activities and goals. It can be as regular as every day or every month for short term goals, and then every 6 months or once a year for midterm goals. Once you decide how often you want to do it, set an alarm or a calendar event to remind you to pause and to reflect. Aside from reviewing my calendar every week and summarizing my activities every month, I like doing a mid year and end of the year check in with myself. And July is a great time because it's that necessary pause halfway through the year when I can look back to just the recent 6 months and check what are the things that I need to change or those that I need to continue doing for the next 6 months. It's also a good reminder for me that, hey, you know what? I still have the rest of the year to make these changes. And if there are new ideas and projects I have in mind, I can start checking my schedule if those things are doable for the next 6 months. So here's what my usual mid year check in looks like. I first check my academic mission statement and reflect on whether it remains true to what I aspire for or if it still resonates with what I do. As of the moment, it still does. My statement is that I use critical inquiry and qualitative methods to study various dimensions of post conflict reconstruction to inform peace building research and practice. I can tell that these dimensions have now expanded. I used to be interested only in military security, transitional justice, and economic development dimensions of post conflict peace building, but now I'm getting more into the environmental dimension of peace building. I'm aware that this addition is also kind of prompted by my current position, but I very much welcome this addition. In fact, I already started looking at the implications of global environmental change for international peace and security even before starting my current position. So I'm really satisfied that this addition very much aligns with my academic goals. And then the next thing I do is that I browse my calendar and note the key activities I have done. This is quite quick for me because I already summarize my activities every month. And looking back, I completed the drafts of 3 research papers, one of which was during the time when I was overseas. And my writing schedule really went kind of awry because of how irregular my daily schedule was. Much of my time during the first half of the year went to organizing our first conference, academic conference. And there are so many lessons learned from that experience because it was my first time organizing a conference. And I want to share those lessons learned with you in the coming episodes about specifically for organizing conferences. And then I taught 2 courses, and the third one I'm teaching right now is the one that I created from scratch. So the syllabus for that also took time thinking about and designing. I also did several guest lectures, invited talks, interviews, and conference presentations. Of course, this doesn't include all the administrative work and meetings that I had to do, and I don't want to bore you with. But one important reflection for me is that I said yes to 5 writing invitations, 3 of which I need to finish within the next 4 months. And for the first time, I counted opportunities that I said no to. These are excellent opportunities, but I just realized that despite how much I wanted to be a part of them, my time is just not enough to take them all in unless I want to see myself overwhelmed and overworked again. And I'm proud to report that I said no to 4 writing invitations and 3 speaking engagements. If not for the limited time I have, and most of us actually have trouble with finding time, I would have said yes to all these kinds of invitations from people I love working with and I highly respect. I would have said yes because they are good for my career growth. But no matter how difficult it was, I had to say no. And I'm reminded here of the power to say no and why we sometimes have to say no. I had a previous episode on this specific topic that I will link in the show notes, including all the other episodes I have mentioned earlier. Now, moving forward, with 3 papers to draft, 3 workshops to attend to, and a field work to do, I don't want to add new writing commitments and new projects into my schedule if I want to manage my time carefully, given my other teaching duties and admin work for the next 6 months. I'd say that all things considered, everything is going well and on track. And also, the Scholars Unbound program that I'm planning sometime this year is still on the agenda, and I will definitely let you know soon once the details get sorted out. That's it for my mid year check in. How about you? What are your practices for reviewing your schedule, your goals, and your academic mission? And when was the last time you checked in with yourself? Thank you for listening to this episode. Please consider leaving a comment or rating at iTunes or any of your preferred podcast hosting platforms. For details about upcoming episodes and how to support the Scholars Unbound project, visit daliasimangon.com/scholars unbound with the link in our show notes.